Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Welcome back again to Youth Hour. আপনারা সবাইকে আবারও স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি. If you just joined and just seeing us now, we are talking about our youth are helping humanity. It's very interesting for me. We have two young men doing medicine, and these guys are running the world. MashaAllah. Let me go to.
I didn't know that.
Shahid Bhai, running. All right, not running. Okay, Shahid Bhai. It's amazing to see you guys. I follow you for a long, long time. You go around Jordan, you go to other places helping refugees, and it's for me it's nerve-breaking. You know, like sometimes I can't sleep when I see refugees in Paris and other places in Germany. They've been seen as not even half human. You know, like completely it's not their fault. It's their house been attacked. It's been done by within themselves, and they're living a life like. I don't know, I don't have a word for it. So tell me about your experience about helping those refugees in Jordan.
It's a long story, isn't it? The brother's been with me. We just came back 2 months ago, yeah? About around 2 months ago. It's a tragedy. It's one of the biggest disasters in living memory. I don't know where to start. I mean, you talk to them, they're so calm, they're so, you know, like, what's the word? Every time you talk to them, they never complain. That's the first bit I want to say. You know, sometimes something goes wrong with us, a very tiny bit, we start complaining. But these people, they were in their house, they had their own job, they had their own wealth. Some of them are in Jordan that don't have husband now or don't have wife. Their daughter been raped in front of them. You know, what not? I mean, there's so much story. Some of them I don't think we are allowed to share this time of the day. That's how it is. It was my 4th time that I've been to Jordan. And one of the biggest story is the camp, the military camp. It's like an open prison. You can't go in from, if you are coming from Syria, you can't just go in there. You have to go through United Nations. And if you want to come out, you can't come out. So you have to be there. So whatever is provided by World for Food Program or European Union or some of the charity or United Nations, this is what you get. It's some of the tiny houses that they have been living. Only God knows how they live there, and you know they go on about with their daily life.
We get to hear like some of the places they had to have grass. There's no food. They eat grass, like a soup and eat grass. Can you imagine? It's crazy, but I'm finding it very difficult to understand. You know, like as a ummah, as a global ummah, we're saying, or as a humanity, we're saying, why don't we feel for them? I mean, there's no feelings. There are certain people doing work. Not everybody. We don't feel for them. I mean, just like they're part of us, and we don't even feel for it. What's going on here?
To be honest, it's wrong to say. You know, when you listen to some of the media in this country, the radio, they say, "Well, why they're coming here? Why they don't go to the neighbor country?" I don't know why they don't go to the neighbor country, but the neighbor country are doing what they can. It's not that they're not doing anything. But what can they do? They're giving money. They're giving. When the winter comes, they're giving bed, they're giving blankets, they're giving food. But there's millions. Every day, thousands and thousands are pouring in. Jordan is not a healthy country. So can you imagine, millions of millions are living in Jordan, where Jordan can't even look after themselves. So it's wrong to say the neighboring country or the Arab country don't have any feeling, or Muslims don't have any feeling. They do. I mean, 6 months ago I went to Greece to help the refugees, those who are coming. There were so many different groups helping, but it's not enough. I think we can do more.
Okay, can I ask Habib, you've been to the same trip, the same.
I did, yeah.
Can you tell me a story about any kind of incident you saw there regarding?
Yeah, so I can give one story actually, and it was probably the most prominent story actually. So this was during the day where we were doing a lot of family visits, and we were just going to different houses, just hearing their stories and so on, and then in any way what we could do to help them. So one story we came across was a man, and he had I think 4 or 5 children, something like that.
Yeah.
But he had a fairly newborn, I think around 4 months old, approximately 4 months, and the subhanAllah, the child was born with heart issues. So specifically, basically, the child had extra high pressure in the heart, which you shouldn't have, and that can lead to heart failure if it's not treated. Now, it is possible for children to be born like that, but for example, if you're in the UK, these things are reverted quite easily because they're picked up early and they're dealt with early. However, being refugees in Jordan and having obviously not being able to work legally and only living off coupons and whatever work they can do on the side, they could not afford to go ahead with the treatment because obviously, unlike us, they have to pay for treatment in Jordan. And so for them, the operation would have cost £10,000. Yeah, a huge sum of money. I couldn't even pay for that myself, even if I, in my current situation. So how would it be for them? So what we did was we kind of went away and we just reflected and thought about, what could we do? A huge issue, and these things do exist. I mean, that was a more extreme case that we saw, but it's fairly common that you have families that can't afford certain treatments, and it's literally a matter of life and death. And so, alhamdulillah, with some guidance from Khair, we did a fundraising campaign that same evening, and alhamdulillah, within an hour and a half, within an hour and a half, I kid you not, 90 minutes, we raised alhamdulillah just over 10.5K, and we literally visited and hand delivered it to the family the next day. And yeah, it was probably one of the biggest stories. It was an amazing story.
I'm sure it's a life-changing journey for. It could be for anyone.
No, it definitely was. Yeah, I mean, even as much as it was life-changing for the.
You're a student of medicine. So a lot of work needs to be done. I don't know how you made the time, and I don't know how your parents were saying, "Don't go there." Were they up for it?
My parents.
Yeah.
I was surprised. They were like, "Go for it."
Oh,
they just
cool.
said, do it.
Cool
because I've been to Calais myself, and so when I went to go to Calais, they were a bit, because it's the first time, they were like, oh, safety might be an issue, but I just told them, look, I won't be silly, I'll do my best. And then obviously, alhamdulillah, when I came back safely and I obviously was able to do work there, they were okay with letting me to go to Jordan, even though that was further out, and they were fine with it. And obviously, I was WhatsApping them every day, telling them what's going on, everything like that. So they were cool with it.
Okay, I'm going to go to Anam Asanam. If that was in a Muslim country or Muslim population there affected, would you do the same work?
If it wasn't a Muslim country?
If it was in a Muslim refugee, say imagine, or something else, would you do the same commitment?
Yeah, because
as a ummah means actually everybody. It doesn't mean like specifically Muslim. It doesn't mean like that. There's a broad understanding of ummah as well, and humanity as well. Muslim always been known for helping others, not within themselves. That's the thing. So we need to come out of that, idea like we are for we, and rest of them they could do it. Would you do the same thing as now?
Yeah, I think for us it's just easy to remember like this. If someone's not your brother and sister in Islam, they're your brother and sister in humanity.
Of course.
And that's basically the crux of it. We do medicine. I'm not going, after inshallah I graduate, I'm not going to just sit there and be like, oh, they're not Muslim. I'm not going to treat them. It's not.
It's against Islam itself.
Yeah, you have to understand.
Of course.
The Prophet ﷺ, all the Sahaba, there was a time in our history people would say, "Come, liberate us." Like they would literally say, "Come, we're being oppressed. We need the Muslims here to help us. We need the Muslims." You look at history, the impact that Muslims have had on modern life, it's huge. And what we need to do is actually we need to look back and not reminisce on those days, but rather take the lessons and establish it again now. We need the Muslims to be at the forefront when it comes to education. Very few people know the first university in all of history was made by a Muslim, and it wasn't just any Muslim, it was a Muslim woman. Very few people know that. Fatima al-Fihri, go read up on her. A Muslim woman was the first person to set up universities Why is it that when we graduate, we wear the long robes and the hat? It's because when Muslims used to graduate, the Quran would be put on their heads, and all the Muslims, we wear long robes anyway. So when people graduate, who are they imitating? Are we imitating them, or are they imitating us? Do you see, it's looking at like this and being very proud of our heritage. Ultimately, the work we do is inspired, and we help Muslim or non-Muslim, and it's not about picking sides. It's not.
Yeah. Can I just say?
No, I'm not going to come to you. No.
There were 13 brothers.
Only if he calls you that, I can.
There were 13 brothers that we went, and it was one of the best experience for me out of the last 3, because these brothers, they're from King College University, and subhanallah, as I said when I talked about Zain, how he looked after his father, you know, we should be proud. Before the break, you said you want to talk about positive. This is what we have. This, they could have gone to Barcelona, they could have gone to Portugal and have a good holiday, but these brothers, they took 7 days to go to Jordan, and do you know what we done? It's not that we went there, we enjoyed ourselves. From 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the evening, going around, finding cases where we can help. And the amazing thing is, where he touched on, I wanted them to talk about it, is the boy we saved, his name is Ahmed. Do you remember when we asked Ahmed, father, what can we do for you? The reply was, brother Isaac, is there's another boy, same problem as he is, 2 miles away. 2 miles away, there's another boy, same problem. See if we can help him. Never mind about my boy. Would you say that? Yes, no. I wouldn't say that. I would say, please, save my boy first. He said that, and all of us were thinking, what's he talking about? We are here to help his son, because if he doesn't have the operation, he will die. And he is telling us, please go to that house. This is how the Syrian people are. I'm not going to use the word refugees. Syrian people are very good people. They had no problem. They had no debt. They were, living in peace. Whatever happened, whatever is, I don't want to go into that department. But these people are very good people, and we were lucky that we were able to go and talk to them and learn about giving and taking.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullah khair for sharing that story, especially.
Sorry, you wanted to go.
No, especially about that brother
it's
who.
important that
it
how,
is.
as a father, telling us, don't worry about my son, but God.
Yeah.
It's so much to take.
Of course, our brothers and sisters are watching. I'm sure they're very proud of you guys. Honestly, it's. I want to come to Jane. Jane, I know it's up to you. Actually, I want people to know, if it's possible, I know you'll be emotional, how you felt about your father. If I can pick it up, because this what you say, whatever you say, is going to stay forever. Your grandchildren will see these videos and all that stuff. Honestly, I want you to use what came into your head when you hear your father passed away. If it's possible, I'll try the topic.
I think what I'll do is
just
because
few
this
words,
I think
specific
because
ones.
this show is all
if
about.
If you don't want to, you don't have to.
No, that's fine. I think because this show is about how we can do more in the world, and we've got amazing brothers around us who's constantly be doing some amazing work. I think it's fitting for me to maybe share with you. There was a point, I think, during the last stages and stuff, where he was really ill, where I had to let go of a lot of stuff. So a lot of projects, even as you know well, Sweet Eid. This year, I just said to the brothers, look, I can't do it. And there was loads of different various, projects that I knew I was part of that I kind of let down and said, look, I can't kind of handle it and do it right now. But I think I want to tell you a bit, something very small about my father, which he'd done and left behind, which is going to be a huge reason why, even though it's not been 2-3 weeks that I'm here, and even though it's not been 3 weeks that I've said to most of the other charity projects and stuff I'm doing, I'm back. And the story is, my father, most of his life he spent supporting his family. He had 10 brothers and sisters. He spent most of the time supporting them, raising them up. He lost his parents when he was young. And not only, alhamdulillah, did my father not leave a single debt behind, But on top of that, he in his will and his diaries, he managed to make sure that every single person, even the 12, 13-year-olds who have no idea about the future, are already covered for. And I think, even though, you know, there used to be loads of discussions when my father was alive, when I used to say to my father, you know, charity shouldn't just be about our people in the Mongolia, it should be about everyone. We should go out there, non-Muslim or Muslim, in Iraq or Syria or in Chile or Nepal, whatever it is, humanity is humanity, like the brother was saying. But what I realized was that there's something fundamental there, and what my father was doing was he was doing the charity at home first with his own family, and he was making sure that they're all supported. And kind of when I didn't know about this until he passed away. So when I heard about that, what I realized was that, you know, regardless of whatever happens, I'm going to try and make sure that charity remains at the top of my priorities as long as I can live. Because I think when you are faced with situations like that in life, or when you go like these brothers to Jordan and you face these things, you come back home and all the Gucci belts and all the money and all the wealth and all that, it doesn't mean anything anymore. And I think, like the brother was saying, we have phases. When I was growing up, I wanted the latest shoe, I wanted this, I wanted to go to this trip. The last time I went shopping in, like, I used to be a guy, right? I'd go into Westfield, and because I'm hot and my clothes are sweaty, I'd change and I'd wear it in the shop and come out. And sometimes I'd even chuck that old clothing in the bin. That's how bad I was, and that was when I was like 16, 17. I was getting EMA, you know, student loans are hitting, all of this stuff, and I thought, yeah, perfect. But I swear, you know, I'd say in the last 2 years, I've gone shopping once or twice. And it's because we start to realize what is actually valuable in life, what matters, and you start to sacrifice that Gucci belt because you start to see that another kid in another part of the world needs it, or you sacrifice a meal or something else for someone else. Because I think when we all become older, which we will, and when we all reach our own death, which we guaranteed will, those are the things which you look back on your life and think, you know what, I made a difference, and at least I can leave some sort of legacy behind. Otherwise, what are you leaving behind? Not much.
It's amazing. Also, you're doing going to China for a charity thing. Can you tell us about that?
So, all the brothers here are.
Okay.
This is one of the projects that these brothers arranged. So it's with Human Relief Foundation. I'll let the brothers talk a bit more about it. I'll just give you an introduction. So it's a China trek. It's the Great Wall of China. And I think throughout the course of the 8 or 9 days that the brothers will be there, I think it's about 10 to 11,000 steps that they'll cover. They'll have their gear on their backs. So they'll be carrying those around. And as much as it's fun and it's an activity to get people involved in and get them fundraising, it is ultimately for the very same people that these brothers went out and met in Jordan. It's for people who are very much in need. It's for people who, even though they need food, they won't ask for it. It's people who, even though you're in front of them and you're staying in a hotel, maybe 2-3 stars, they'll say to you, come and stay where I'm staying. Do you need food? Do you need this or that? It's for people who are the perfect example of humanity, even though humanity isn't shown to them. So I'll let the brothers talk a bit more about the actual trip. There's some fundraising that's going on. It's happening on the 29th of October. If you know, I'm sure there's a lot of guests at home. They'll want to get involved in the future. I'm sure they can contact Shahid Bhai. There's loads of programs like it. And I think just before I finish, what I want to say is, whether you go to China or not, right? You're sitting at home, even if you have £10 or £5, or even if you have 5-10 minutes, do something. And I said that on one of the other shows. It's all about doing something and being part of it. Because if you don't do it now, sooner or later you are going to become older. You're going to have more responsibilities, and you're going to look back on your life and think, where did I waste my youth, my wealth? And you won't have it anymore.
Can I come to Enam?
You visited hospital. Maybe you can share that as well.
In
Jordan, yeah.
Yeah, so what happened was, it was quite a weird one. We just got a call, and then there was a person in hospital, and their situation was really, really bad. And then it was literally, we had a call, so we diverted our cars, went there.
How do you guys sleep at the night when you see these things? I know, just sorry to cut you off, but you know, I don't think we haven't seen these things, honestly. We haven't seen this country, nothing like that at all. We don't want to see it as well, that's how it is.
Yeah.
We don't want to see a bad news in news and anything. Please enough, I don't want to hear anything. I only want good news. I want good life and good ideas.
Yeah.
But when you go and see that for your first time in your life, and
You know how lucky you are.
Yeah, I think everyone has to do it first, and then you'll understand, because words can't put it. But
sorry, I'll take you out of your hospital. Go back.
So we went, and myself and Amin, we went upstairs, and we visited. Well, we saw the brother lying down in the hospital, and he was sort of comatose. He wasn't moving. All the machine was just attached to him, all the wires and everything. And I think it was his brother-in-law. Someone was there from a relative, and he was just saying, "Look, we need help. We don't know what to do."
Oh, it was his son actually.
It was his son.
Yeah.
And then it was so sad, because they asked us, "Can you figure out what's going on?" And we are just students. It has to be said, we are just students. We haven't graduated. We're not doctors qualified yet. But it was at that moment, and this is something I'll tell everyone. We've been in university for 3 years now, going to our 4th year. We know enough. We know enough. Like, I can sort of navigate my way around when I see someone. I can sort of take a history. And that's what I did. That's all I knew, honestly. That's all I know when it comes to medicine, how to take a good history, or a decent history of a patient. So when I say history, it's basically, when you see your doctor, you're going to say, oh, you say your problem, and then they sort of ask questions. It's that. And we're taught how to do it in a very systematic way, so you pick up all the key pieces of information. And that's all I know how to do, so I just did it. And I did it, and I think just for the family member watching us do it, and we spent 15, 20 minutes doing it, there was a translator in the room translating for us. That was enough for him, and as we were leaving, he was just making dua for us, like, thank you so much. And we didn't do anything. I just sat there with a notebook and wrote, but it was enough. And I think that's what people need to understand. Sometimes we think, oh, I need to go out of the way, I need to be amazing. Do what you know. It's really that easy. Just do what you know, and inshallah, people will love you for it.
You know what, I'm quite proud of we are helping humanity, actually. You guys proven you have. It wasn't a biased name I put in, actually, honestly. And it's amazing. We're going to go for a small break, inshallah. After that, we'll talk about the qualities we need for young people to rise in their potential, inshallah. সম্মানিত ভাই বোনেরা, আপনারা সবাইকে অনুরোধ করতেছি, if you want to call us and talk to any of us, ask questions, you're more than welcome. And stay with us. I'll see you after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Oh